Welcome to the TMRN Time Monk Radio Network. I'm Jules, and today is the 26th of February 2011. Today we have author and researcher Patrick Geryl. Patrick is a long-time researcher on various topics from health, astronomy, the sun and the Mayan civilization, and its links to 2012. Patrick's website is howtosurvive2012.com. Hello Patrick, welcome.
Hello everybody, and I hope you can learn something from what I am saying today.
Yes, thank you, and I'm sure we will. The WebWatt Forum administrator is Fox, and today he will be doing the recording and technical support of the show. Several members of the forum were kind enough to join us tonight. They include WebWatt moderator Neo, and members Groundrod, Chuck, Lua, Odison, and Diane B. For listeners, this interview will assume you have a good understanding of Patrick's theories, in particular his research on the sunspot cycle and 2012. If you don't understand some of the questions asked here, please go to howtosurvive2012.com to find out about Patrick's books, and also there's lots of free videos on YouTube. Okay, with that said, our opening question comes from Odison.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello.
My first question for you is starts with a quote. Isaac Newton once said, "If I've seen further, it is only by standing on the shoulders of giants." How do you feel standing on the shoulders of ancient astronomers has handicapped you most?
Well, I am very surprised with what I have found in the Dresden Codex of the Maya. In it, there is a theory that is not known by astronomers today, and I was able to decode a part of it. I put it on my website, and it's a recent update since last week, especially for today. And if there are any mathematicians listening, they can go to it and they can research it. I know from very good mathematicians that the theory is right. The basic principle is new, and the Maya were able to calculate with that theory the reversal of the magnetic field of the sunspots. And that is what they calculated for 2012. At the end of 2012, they expect a big reversal of the magnetic field of the sun. And I know a lot about astronomy. I made a long time ago, more than 30 years ago, several predictions. I was the only one who ever predicted an accelerating universe, and also quasars in the far infrared near the speed of light. Therefore, people have to understand that the predictions from the Maya are very, very advanced, and more advanced than our astronomers today. And that is what I want to tell to the people today.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Patrick, since we haven't seen much of you in the media for a while, the last being in the Canadian documentary on 2012, could you tell us how you have been, and especially after your latest article on your website about the precursor negative sunspots, how is your preparation going for 2012?
We have in Spain, there is a large survival group that already built several bunkers where more than a few hundred people can try to survive the events from 2012. And we are also doing on our own our survival. But what is especially important is that on August the 1st of 2010, there was a large event on the sun, never seen before. And you can see, you can find a link on my website to the NASA explanation. And they stated that the whole magnetic field of the sun was involved in it. People that have read my book, The World Cataclysm in 2012, can find there that I found that the magnetic field of the sun would start changing 874 days before the end. And if you calculate that back, that was around the 31st of July 2010. So, the event that happened in August was what the Maya calculated would happen. And there is also a lot more, because on that day there was a sunspot involved with that change of the magnetic field of the sun. And that sunspot was, I call it a negative sunspot. And why do I call it a negative sunspot? Because if that kind of sunspots is on the sun, then the solar flux is going down. The solar flux, what do I mean with that? If you have sunspots, you can give it a certain number, the brightness and the darkness of the sunspots, and that gives us a certain number. And with the solar flux, you can lay that over that number from the sunspots, and that should be the same. But now, for the first time, we saw things that were never seen before by science. We saw sunspots that lowered the solar flux. So one number was going up, the sunspot, while the other one, that also should go up, went down. And therefore I call this a negative sunspot. And also the polarity of the sunspot looks to change while it is going over the solar while it is going over the sun. So that are the most important things that we saw the last 6 months. From August till January of this year, we saw in total around, I think, 18 negative sunspots. And always when there were from these sunspots on the sun, you can find it on my website, there were special events on the sun, like large solar filaments never seen before from 700,000 kilometers, and global eruptions, and so on. So these sunspots are very important. But at the moment, there are only highly complex sunspots on the sun that can destroy our civilization at any moment in time. Because last week there was an X solar flare. If it had a little bit higher, then it can destroy our worldwide grid system. And if that happens, then 90% of all people will die.
Thank you, Patrick. That's a very good segue into the section we're going to discuss, which is your 10-bit cycle. The next question we have is from Groundrod.
Yeah, Patrick, thanks for summarizing the last 6 months. It has been real interesting watching the sun. On February 15th, 2011, while facing Earth and just in time to reach us with a CME on the full moon, sunspot 11158 erupted with a 2.2 magnitude X-class flare. This was accompanied by nearly a week of the most violent behavior we've yet seen on the sun during this spot cycle. How do you view this particular event, and does the timing match up with your work?
Even if you have very low sunspot activity, there can be moments from a high sunspot activity that was seen even hundreds of years ago, that if there are almost no sunspots, and suddenly at once you can have a sunspot with big eruptions on it. So what happened last week is something that goes back to January. In January we saw the last negative sunspot complex, and since then there are only complex sunspots. So something changed, and I think I already know what happened, because last week there was a stream of let us say, particles to the North Pole of the Sun. So I think the North Pole of the Sun is starting to change or has already changed. Could be close. And the activity has something to do with that. If that is true, then only the southern pole of the Sun has to change. If that happened, then the sunspot polarity has to change also to give us a mega solar flare that will destroy our civilization. So, what I am saying is that it can happen. We don't know when it will happen. I only know that there is a certain recurring cycle from 87 days that makes sense because you can calculate it with the Maya calculations. But what exactly changed the behavior of the sunspots the last weeks, I still don't know, because the theory from the Maya is so complex that I need at least dozens of mathematicians to decode it further, because it's a highly complicated theory with 6 unknowns at the moment. So I don't know how to solve all the problems.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. In your recent video on your site regarding the countdown of the bit cycle to 2012, yes, you talk about Maya strength. Can you please explain the importance of the Maya strength and what is the difference between a high Maya strength and the low Maya strength in this cycle?
Yes, with the Maya theory, you can calculate a certain strength of the cycle. What is a bit? A bit is when the equator field catches up with the polar field. And that happens, according to the Maya theory, between 82 and 88 days. Now, the Maya calculate down with a special theory, and they say 87 days. I don't know exactly why they use 87 days, because in all my calculations it's more around 83 and 84 days. But I think it has to do something with the change of the speed of the equator and the polar fields. Problem is, I have values for the equator field till 20 years ago. And from the last 20 years, I don't have values from the equator, speed of the equator field from the Sun. And I need these speeds to calculate the length of the bit of the solar cycle. So at the moment, I am totally not possible to calculate anything. So why am I sure from the 87 day cycle? Because on the 1st of August from last year, 2010,